Fox 61 News at 6 starts now.
New Year's Eve is certainly one of the most deadly days on our highways.
And now at 6, we get a first-hand look in a state police cruiser to see how troopers are stepping up enforcement this New Year's weekend.
Even though Raheem is not here anymore, the love that he had is still spreading.
Keeping a teen's memory alive tonight, we'll take you to a special memorial. The teen killed in a Christmas morning crash is being remembered on the soccer field. And a rise in COVID numbers across our state. Some counties are listed in the state's high transmission category. Before your holiday weekend, we'll show you where there's concern tonight. Plus a story that's gripped the nation. Finally, some answers in the mystery of who murdered 4 Idaho college students. We'll have the latest from police who say they've arrested a suspect states away from the crime. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Sarah Sanchez. Well, New Year's Eve can be one of the most dangerous times to be out on our roadways, but the Connecticut State Police will be out in full force working to keep our roads safe. Fox 61 New Haven County Bureau reporter Julia LeBlanc rode along with a trooper to get a firsthand look at what they're prepping for this year. Julia.
I'm a midnight trooper. That's my primary patrol shift.
Trooper Joshua Durant has been patrolling and protecting Connecticut roadways for 5 years.
Come in.
He's taking us along for the ride, and it's already a busy start to the holiday weekend. When he's not responding to crashes or pulling debris off the highway, Trooper Durant has a special passion for raising awareness about driving while under the influence.
I was hit by a drunk driver 2 years ago, and I was injured. It was right in the height of COVID. I ended up tearing my rotator cuff and only just had surgery for it.
Now he's back on the road and keeping his eyes and ears wide open.
And you see the violations, you see the erratic operation of the vehicle, and that's the vehicle that you want to stop because you could potentially save somebody's life that night.
But police can't be everywhere all at once. It's up to drivers to make the right decision and get a ride home. Even if you've had 1 or 2 drinks, Durant says it's still not safe to drive.
You're still under the influence of alcohol, and that's unacceptable. With all the ride, lift, share apps that you can get, friends that you can call, family members, it's unacceptable to be out drinking and driving nowadays.
And if you happen to run into a dangerous driver on the road, Trooper Durant says fall back and let police protect you.
Call 911. Stay away from the vehicle. If you can get a plate for us, that's great, so we can try and get behind it.
One more thing Trooper Durant wanted to note is that if you happen to get into a crash on one of our highways, he says pull all the way over to the right side if you can. Stay in the car, keep that seatbelt on, and do not get out of the car. Once you can, call police. Now, once again, they'll be all over the state keeping us safe this weekend. We are here in Bethany. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61 News.
All right. Thank you, Julia. A warm up today. It was just beautiful across the state. Broke some records here and there, but now we got to think about our New Year's Eve. Here's Ryan Breton with a look ahead. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, very warm today, and this warm air mass will stay with us as we start off the new year as well. We hit 64 in the Hartford area today, breaking the record of 59. And tonight, it's still mild. 50 in Meriden, 49 in Waterbury. We're at 54 in Hartford and 47 degrees right now in Norwich. It's quiet across southern New England, but you can already see the rain from our next system back to the west. This is not a big storm, but it's enough to bring us some rain for New Year's Eve. So through the night tonight, not going to cool off much. We have this southerly wind continuing. Temperatures dropping to around 40 toward morning, and there may be some patches of fog that form, especially near the Connecticut shoreline early tomorrow morning, given the temperatures are up a bit and the winds coming in off the sound. So one thing to be aware of if you're out early tomorrow morning. Random shower possible during the morning tomorrow, but we get to around or just over 50 in many spots tomorrow afternoon. With rain coming in for the afternoon and evening, we will have off and on rain tomorrow evening, including around when the ball drops at midnight. So it's not a complete washout, but you will need the rain gear if you're headed out on New Year's Eve. That said, look at how warm it may be even at midnight, right around 50 degrees. We'll talk about how long the warm weather sticks around, the changes for the second half of the weekend as well, when I see you in just a little while, Sarah.
Thank you, Ryan. The owners of a small gift shop in Colchester are asking for the public's help. They're looking for the Grinches who stole not once, not twice, but 3 times this year, the most recent on Christmas Day. As Fox 61's Carmen Chow tells us, the Grinch is still on the loose.
In the quaint town of Colchester lies this bedazzling gift shop called Enchanted Vines. But not far from the store is a thief or two.
If they came and they asked me if they couldn't afford it or needed it, I would have gave it to them.
On the 20th of this month, their surveillance camera showed a white car backing out of the lot around 3:30 in the morning. 25 minutes later, you see someone take a hanging decor from the store window and walks away. Luckily for the owners, Herman Saxey and his wife installed 10 surveillance cameras indoors and outdoors, which captured the thief in action. But one night of stealing was not enough. Saxey said one of the thieves, who appears to be an older woman, came back on Christmas Day around 10:30 p.m.
And she noticed the big decorative wreath that was on the side, and she looked up, and there's a camera that's under the eave of the porch, and she looked right into the camera, not being covered. And she knew it, and then she pulled her hood over her head.
Cameras show the woman looking around, at one point realizing she stared into the camera. You then see her in the bottom left corner here stealing ornaments out of the sleigh. Of course, her job was not done until she walked away with the 4-foot wreath.
It's just sad that they would do anything like that on Christmas Day. That it's probably the most holiest day of the year.
And it is not the first time Enchanted Vines was robbed. Back in June, Saxey said a man stole thousands of dollars worth of his construction equipment, an amount he is still recovering from. In Colchester, Carmen Chow, Fox 61 News.
Tonight, a message from North Haven Public Schools due to funeral services for North Haven firefighter Matthias Wirtz. All North Haven Public Schools will be closed on Monday and Tuesday. North Haven schools will reopen on Wednesday, January 4th. A car on I-84 East goes off the highway and lands on top of a parked car. Take a look at this photo. Pretty wild from the scene. Police say Tysha Rodney Newman was driving on I-84 when her car veered into the right shoulder and struck the exit 17 sign. Her car then went through a fence and eventually landed on top of a parked car on Straits Turnpike. She was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, and thankfully no one was in that parked car. COVID numbers are up in Connecticut, and 4 counties are now listed as high for rates of transmission. Fairfield, Litchfield, Middlesex, and New Haven counties are now in that high category. Health officials recommend people living in high-risk counties wear masks indoors and test if they have symptoms. The rest of the state's counties are listed in the medium category. And as we reported this week, the 7-day positivity rate is 15.57%. More than 700 people are hospitalized with the virus in our state, with 37 new COVID-related deaths in the past week. New developments tonight. Police say they have their suspect, a man accused of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students. He was taken into custody in Pennsylvania. Investigators are sharing few details as they're waiting to get their suspect extradited back to Idaho. Reporter Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Authorities say they've arrested this man on charges of first-degree murder in the case of 4 University of Idaho students stabbed to death nearly 7 weeks ago. Police tracked down 28-year-old Brian Christopher Koberger 2,500 miles away in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
No arrest will ever bring back these young students. However, we do believe justice will be found through the criminal process.
Koberger has been on the loose since the early morning hours of November 13th, when the bodies of Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Ethan Chapin were found at the women's rental home near campus. Autopsies showed the 4 were likely asleep when they were stabbed multiple times. Some had defensive wounds, but authorities report there was no sign of sexual assault.
Nothing we do can bring them back. The only thing that we can do in law enforcement to honor their memories that we know of is to bring this to a successful conclusion.
Residents of Moscow, Idaho, expressed frustration that police took so long to even name a suspect, but some crime experts are praising the investigation.
The police played it the way they were supposed to play it. In other words, they didn't just opine on things that they didn't have. They were working on evidence, and that was a very complicated crime scene.
Koberger is listed as a PhD student in the Department of Criminal Justice at Washington State University in Pullman, about a 15-minute drive from the crime scene. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The House releases years of former President Trump's tax returns. The documents include individual returns from Donald and Melania Trump, along with Trump's business entities from 2015 through 2020. The documents show the former president paid very little in federal income taxes the first and last year of his presidency. The returns were obtained by the Ways and Means Committee after a 4-year-long legal battle. In a statement about the release, the former president said Democrats, quote, never should have done it.